Yeah, hello and welcome back. Now I want to dive a little bit deeper into the Redux function, and to do so, I will first prepare a button. Yeah, it's right. It's will be below here. It's just for testing purposes that we could see that we are able to fetch against the server. So I will provide a button right below these tiles to apply an action there. And to do so, I will go into an animals list. I will now remove this unnecessary console logs because it only pollutes our code to make it look a little more nice. And here, right below this li, I think, I could do it here. I will provide something like a button, an HTML element, and here there's the button. This button says click me to fetch to server, for example, to make this button look nice. Not that we need it, but just to do it, I provide a class name because we imported Bootstrap. We can make use of Bootstrap, so I will name this button name success, and I will check now whether the button is rendered correctly. Wow, I'm in the wrong, I have a little hierarchy problem. You see, because I'm inside an li, I am in my render animals list method, but it's too high. I want the button only once, not on each element. So I will go down here into my render function. Inside my render function, I'm having this call of render the animals list, what is producing the complete li elements there. And here I will add the button right below. So now it should, here it's not looking nice, but it's okay. And to prove the onClick method that it's working, I will do something like onClick is 0 is curly braces, and here I will return something to the console log. The button is clicked. So let's check it out. Let's open the console if you haven't already. And the button is clicked. As you can see, I can now interact. And I think it would be very nice if here, right at this method, we could do something like go to our JSON server, call the animal route, take every animal you have, and give us back something. Yeah. So let's start this thing off. To do so, I want to introduce. I want you to do something to go in the actions folder, and inside the actions folder, I would like you to open a new file. There are different declarations for this. I stick with constants here. Because I want to type my actions now. This is what I want to do. It's a very simple and pretty forward file. What I want to do is I want to export const with the name fetch animal, and everything I want to do, we typed our actions as strings, and but I want to bind it here to be able to access it via the fetch animal, and not to do it with a string. I think for terms of similarity, I will go for the plural animals here. So let's start writing out our method, right? So it's pretty simple. And I would like you to go into our index.js file. And here, why do I have? yeah, this is from the last section, right? This is what we want to do now, but I will delete it because it's just pseudocode. And the first thing we want to do is we want to import Axios from the package. So now we are making use of Axios. And Axios is, in the beginning, it's pretty simple. And what I want to do now is I want to have nearly the same structure like this. I want to name the action as something. I want to type it, and then I want to bind a payload to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm exporting a function. I will call this function fetch animals with plural. I don't need to provide any argument yet because it's a get. This is our list get. This is our animals list get method, or this yeah, okay, I will name it better. I will say it is get animal list. So we have speaking function names now, so anyone knows what will happen inside here. And I will do something like the URL. Can you remember the URL? The URL is still this localhost 3000 / animals, because this is where we want to fetch. I will provide an http / sorry, my English at this point, my pronunciation. And here we want to go for localhost 3000, and we want to call the animals route. And now I want to do something like I make use of Axios. So Axios is here. I want to get. This is the HTTP verb that Axios provides us. We also have like post here or put and so on. But for now we want to get, and we want to get the URL, and everything that comes back here I will, let's say, wrap it in a request for now, just to see what will happen. And yeah, it's not correct, but it's not the 100% correct way, but it's for terms of finding things out. And then I want to return a type of what was my type named fetch animals. This is the type I now want to make user. Oops, sorry. I only want this part here. So I remove this, and I lost a curly brace now by making... I lost a curly brace by being lazy. So again, stick with me. Oh, I lost the curly brace again. Okay, that's yeah. This is a problem if you swap from Ubuntu to Mac from time to time. It's no problem. So we're returning here the type of yeah, and let's say the payload will be our request, right? So what we want to get here from Axios is our request. And this looks pretty simple, pretty forward. You might think of the problem we will have, but I think for now it's okay. So yeah, let's write our reducer for this, right? So now that we have an action, we need to follow the React design principles. And every action needs its reducer. So I'd like to go to create a new file into our reducer, and I name it fetch animals reducer, you know, animals reducer. And yeah, what I first want to do is I want to first let the animals reducer know of the type of the action. And you know, in the other reducers we had this hard-coded string here, but now we are not working with this hard-coded string because we are exporting this to the constants. So what I want is, I want to import the fetch animal from our actions and from our constants. So now I don't need to write it as string, but I can use this as an object anymore. This will come very handy later, and I will export default a function here. And as you might remember, we supply a state and an action. Let's check what's inside. We are switching. We are writing a switch case over the action type, and here, if we are iterating over this action type, we want to, we need the case, and the case in this scenario will be fetch animals, right? And here I want to, let's console log for now. Let's console log. So let's see what is happening. I will write that it's from the fetch animals reducer. So we have a nice little log in the console, fetch animals reducer, and here we are having our action. Let's check the whole action. I would like to point to action.payload because this is what we bound the request to, but let's check for the whole action. And now I want to return the action payload is what I want to return. And if I'm not in the switch case, I want to return the state. And let me initialize the state per default as null. Okay. So again, let's take a step back. I might be too fast, so let's take a step back and recontemplate on what we have done now and what we will have to do in the future. So what we did was that we created this little constants file. In this constant file we exported just a JavaScript variable, let's say, and we bound it to fetch animals, and this is where our types come into play. You could also, some people in terms of terminology, they want to name it like types, okay, but I think it's constants because it's constant in the whole project and you can import it everywhere. But this is terminology and has nothing to do with the logic of our application. So now I want to write my straightforward first try of the list, because as you can see, I have not resolved the promise. This is what we will do very soon. But for an easy mind, this is how the action should look like. Because if I'm inside the action, I want to make a request with Axios, because so I want to make my Axios to fetch the server to get something from this URL, and I want to be everything stored here in the request, and as given I want to bound it here to the payload. So what do you guys this is what we did. And now what we need to do is, for sure, not to forget it like the last time we forgot it, we need to import this, we need to provide it to the root reducer. And to do so, we need to import our fetch animal reducer, animals, it's plural, fetch animals reducer, should be correct. And here we are getting it, and now I want to expose it to on the left side. I will name it, let's say it's an animal list, because this is what I will have inside, and I will bind it to the fetch animals reducer on this side. So now in our component, I should be able to make use of it very soon, only by importing the action. So if I now head back to my animals list, what we see is that we only imported the select animal action, but now we created the action to fetch the animal list. We created also the reducer to bind the whole animal list to the store of Redux. And what we want to do now is that we want to get our animal list, and we want to make use of it here. And can you remember how we did this in the last time? So what we actually did, what we need to make use of is we need to bind somehow our imported action to the property here of the component, so that is available in the component. So to do so, I will do something like this. I will write animals. It's confusing. I need to take care now. It's let's name it like get animals list, and we are mapping it to get animal list. You know, sometimes I'm helping myself in this by writing the right side as a plural, what means that I would have a plural here, get animals list. You know, please stick with me. I just want to improve the readability. What I'm doing now is I expose this into my component as get animal list, and on the right side of the assignment and the value, I changed this by a very small s, so I get animals list here with an s, and if I do so, I also need to import it as get animals list, and if I do so, I need to head back into my index.js file, and here, you know, I need to export my get animals list. Yeah. Some people, they name it like function here, or it's not to get confused by names. So let's check. It should work now, but not as we expect, because we are not yet resolving the promise. So let's give it a try. Here, this is the click method to verify that we have this get animals method now on the properties. I will help myself out with console logging from the component, and here I'm accessing this props, and now I expect to get animals list to be bound to the props as function. So let's check whether this is correct or whether I made huge mistakes. No, it's okay. As you see now, we are logging the props, and here we have the get animals list as a function. So you see that I would be now able to make use of my function get animal list inside of my component. This is because I used the function map dispatch to props that comes from the Redux connect method, and I bound the action to on the right side to the get animal list on the left side. To give you proof of it, I make get foo, and I will save it now. And what do you guys expect to happen here? Let's check. Here we get this get foo. So the left side of the assignment is how you bring it into the component and how you can access this in the component. But for now, I will rename it as animal list. So what I want to do now is I want to make use of the function on the button click. So instead of console logging, here this button is clicked, I naively go for just making use of my function here. So what I want to do is I want to make this use of this props. What was the name again? Get animals list. Get animal list, because it's the left side of my assignment. And this is the function call. And yeah, let's check out what will happen, or what do we expect to happen, you know? So as we see, fetch animals, and we have an uncaught reference error because fetch animals is not defined. Let's check where does the error is occurring. In index.js, the type is fetch animals. I'm sorry, it's my mistake, because sure, here the type should be still, it should be still a string, right? So let's check. My console log is pretty clear now, so I have no errors. And now let's let the magic happen. I will press a button. And as you can see, I have now from the fetch animals reducer here. So we are here in the fetch animals reducer, and here's the console log I put into it. So we can see the complete action now. As you can see, the action is of type fetch animals, and we have this payload here. You know, now this payload is resolved. And we have an object here. It's quite a huge object because it contains the config, the HTTP header, the HTTP request, the HTTP status code, the HTTP status text, and so on. But the very interesting thing about this is that we now were able to reach into our data. So here is our data, and here we have the list of 100 animals that we have on the server. So let's check this from another side. I will now reload it, scroll a little bit down, and open my network tab. As you know, I'm on XHR. What is I'm crossing domains here, and I expect now, if I click this button, I expect an HTTP request to be happen. So I'm pressing the button here. As you can see, I triggered a request to localhost 3000 animals with the method get. The status type is 200, so it's okay, and an XHR. So this is the initiator. Let's do something let's verify that we have control about how to access this. And I want to do this by going inside my action. This is the URL we are requesting, and now I will do something like funny URL or something like this, you know. So now my action, my Axios will reach out for HTTP localhost 3000 funny URL, and I'm reloading it, as we can see. And here is how you can gain control about your requests. For sure, the route is not found. It's 404. It's not there. But we have the funny URL here. I would also be able to reach out for something for the Zookeeper, because we have the Zookeeper route already installed. You know, it's wrong by methodology. I know the name of the function is get animals list. And now I'm reaching out to Zookeeper, but please stick with me. It's just to show you what is happening here on this side. So this is Zookeeper. So we can alter this by simply providing here the correct route that we want to reach. And somehow we were able to return this into our payload. So we are not listing if we click this button, we have it in the reducer. So it's an unroll, and here we can see the payload is the promise. And this is where we need to, you know, this is pretty much a progression or a didactic thing, because to show you really the usage of Redux Thunk, I could now continue on with the error and show you what the error would lead into if we would like to resolve this. But I think in terms of times and in terms of confusion, I think we should write this action correct now. So in the next section, we will resolve this promise correct to gain control about the asynchronous nature of this thing, because this is asynchronous. And yeah, this takes some time. You know, you don't see it, but it's in the milliseconds area here. It's like 9 milliseconds. But 9 milliseconds can be 100 milliseconds, can be 500 milliseconds, or even 2 seconds. Who knows how long the request would take to be fulfilled? And this is what we need to take care of. So if we click here, you can see it took now 12 milliseconds. And how could we fetch the data? There is a beginner solution for this. The beginner solution for this would be something like wait on render, like this is like a guessed time, but you cannot guess times in the internet. So let's not try it. Let's resolve it with the promise nature. So I will stop the recording here and have a coffee, and then I will be right back.